Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Triumphant Show with Sherida Lovelace. Listen, this is the place where victory repeats itself over and over again. How are you on this day? Listen, I just kept hearing the Lord today talk about blessings upon blessings upon blessings. And so we have already been speaking that word, that triumphant word, into your week. We are so happy to be with you once again here on this broadcast. Shout out to all of our listeners, our supporters. Shout out to the nations, all of our global family and friends. God bless you. We know that you will receive something on tonight as usual. And we thank you so much for following us. Remember, we told everybody that this is the year of the breaker. I mean, yokes are being destroyed. God is doing amazing things in people's lives. You know, we had a difficult time a few years ago, but God keeps making things get better and better. That's that blessing and blessing, blessing upon blessing. And so I'm so excited about what he's doing in your life and in my life. A quick shout out to these past several days. We've had an amazing time, not only with the Stellar Awards, we had an amazing time with Round the Clock Entertainment, with their Media and Artist Showcase. Everybody was amazing, phenomenal, put their hearts out on the stage, and we are so excited to be a part. Make sure you are following us on Instagram at SL Media Ministry for updates of this past weekend that will come probably in the next week or two when I get a minute to upload some of the video footage and the pictures of that. But God bless everybody that was part of that. God bless everybody that was connected to us as we went. And I just had a blast. And I had to show this on today. I had to show the lifesavers. If you follow me on Facebook, you already know. I know y'all were making jokes, but the lifesavers saved our lives because all of us were in that room hungry. And I knew when I went to CVS that day that I had to stop and get my source of strength. And that was some candy. So everyone that had a part was able to partake of that. God bless you. And you owe me a pack. I'm just kidding. Listen, I'm excited about our guest on tonight. But before we get into our guest, I want to just give you a couple reminders and just continue to tell you as we are getting ready to bring her in to follow, share, and like this broadcast. We have a lot to discuss. And I'm just excited just about just having a conversation. Listen, chat media, you can join in on the conversation. I know you'll have something to say when we bring her in. But before we share our guest on tonight, I want to give a shout out to those who have subscribed and are following and listen either tonight or on the replay on YouTube at S Lovelace TV. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to us there. You can catch the nuggets. We are building that channel as usual. And of course, on our general Instagram page at Sherida Lovelace, follow. Every now and then we'll have some clips or pictures or information that we don't always put on our Dr. Sherida Lovelace page. And also, we know you have a story. We've been going strong these last several years. God has been so good. But listen, I know there's so many more out there that have a story, that want to tell it or want to give us the update. Listen, make sure you send me an email at SheridaLovelace Ministries at gmail.com and tell us your story. Let's help people overcome and get stronger and better and wiser. And let's just love on each other. We really need a lot of that, a lot of joy as we move forward into these next couple of years and just all that, is happening in our daily lives, because it's a lot, especially if you watch the news and media. Sometimes we have to keep encouraging one another to keep moving on. And so remember, we are based on 2 Corinthians 2:14, which says, "But thanks be unto God, who always leads us in triumph in Christ and manifests through us the sweet aroma of the knowledge of him in every place." And I'm excited about that scripture. I was excited when I first saw it, and I'm excited years later in repeating it every week, because I just thank God that he always gets the victory, no matter what it looks like, no matter the pain, the what's heavy in our spirits. God always gets the victory, and that's such an amazing thing. So listen, let's get started with our show on tonight, because I don't want to delay any more of the time. But we have an amazing guest tonight. She is going. So I thank God that we were able to catch her. You know how you follow people and they don't even have a clue? Yes. Okay. So glory be to God. I'm happy that God is being able to open the door to several people that I admire admire their journey, their freedom, and their walk. And this woman tonight, she's one of those that I admire so much. But we have tonight with us Kim Ford, author, TV host, speaker. We're going to talk about her book on tonight, you all, and I'm excited for her to share her heart. Let me tell you, we overcome by the word of our testimony and the blood of the Lamb. It is so key for us to share what God releases us to share because we are helping one another. I used to share my story, as you all know, in the beginning stages of this platform, but of course, years back in media. And just to let people know you are not alone. These are the tools to keep going. And we're going to hear about that on tonight. But this media entrepreneur, she also creates content for her digital brand, IamKimFord.com, covering entertainment, lifestyle, and personal development. She's appeared as a guest entertainment contributor on CNN, HLN, and freelance writer for The Hollywood Reporter. She's interviewed stars such as Tyler Perry, Oprah, Kevin Hart, Michael B. Jordan, just to name a few. Kim spoke on the TEDx stage at Emory University with her signature talk, It's Never Too Late, which eventually birthed this book. We're going to talk about this. Or the book may have come before, but we're going to let her tell it. She's a mom of one teenager and one young adult, and she's a proud HBCU graduate at Grambling State University. Shout out to the HBCU. Shout out to Clark Atlanta. Shout out to everyone that went to a HBCU and you continue to support. Let me tell you, Kim knows what it's like to pick yourself back up after heartbreak, after going through different things. But the lessons she's learned led her to create an essential guide to help you make an epic, I love that word, an epic comeback after a setback. So we're going to talk about how it's never too late. It's never too late for God. It's never too late to start again. It's never too late to pick up. Let me tell you, God is in charge of our destiny, right? So we're excited about this book. We're excited that she's going to share with us. So hang with us for a little while and just welcome everybody to the show. I'm going to bring Kim right on right now. Let's get her in. And there
Hi.
she is. Listen, we are so happy to have you. We are so glad that you are here, and welcome again to the Triumphant Show. We go get all this right. We know it's been a storm today as well. Lots going on, so technology has been a little bit crazy, but we're going to make it through.
Yes.
So family, again, to the chat ministry, blessings everybody. Thank you for joining us right now. God bless you. Tell a friend to join us on tonight. Listen, Kim, let's start with this before we get into some meat. Who was Kim before, media and all this? Let the people know where you grew up, was your passion always walking in that place of media? Just a little bit of background about you before we go forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again. Thank you for the opportunity to come. And that was an amazing intro. I would look around and say, who is she talking about? But that's awesome job. But
thank you.
I'm originally from Louisiana, which is where Grambling State University is. And so I grew up there, went to high school and college. And after, I always knew that I wanted to move I knew I wanted to work in entertainment. So I knew to move to Atlanta to do what? I didn't know. I couldn't tell you, but whatever it was going to be in it. And so even through college, just to back up a little bit, when I was in high school, I took this and I absolutely loved it. And of course, I told my mom I was thinking about that, what it is I want to do with my life. And she said, whatever it is, make sure it's something when you graduate afterwards. So I didn't stick with my journalism chops. I just chose nurse. That's a job right out of college, but I did not finish in nursing. I was in the hospitals, and I said, I do not want to work in the hospital for the rest of my life. I changed my I would lose a lot of hours, which ended up being psychology. And so of using all the things that we think were a mistake. So then moved to Atlanta. And once years later, after I moved to Atlanta, once I rededicated, I just knew I wanted to create something for young adults, something that makes space of, entertainment, culture, music, movies. But I wanted it to be faith-based because everything people in the wrong direction, giving awful life advice, relationships advice. So I chose to just create it. I had no background in media. I didn't study it. I wanted to do it, so I created my own website. at that time, that's back when Yahoo was pop template that was easy enough for me to figure out. So I built my own website.
Oh, wow.
I put it up, and the first major event that I requested credentials to cover was the BE7. They didn't know I was brand new and didn't know who I was, but I submitted it in faith, saying, okay, and lo and behold, they said yes. I didn't know what to do afterwards, but I was there. And Terrence J and Roxy was doing 106 in Park, all the things.
I remember.
And so I just learned so much by just paying attention, because I wanted to talk not about what they normally talk about with media outlets, whether it's gospel or thing. I wanted to talk about, their faith in God, all the conversations that nobody was having. Did that year after year, and eventually the publisher of the Source magazine, which was a hip hop, that came to me and said, Kim, we're so glad you're here, because nobody from the faith community will come out and need that light. So that even more so affirmed I belong to interview Lecrae, Dr. Bernice King, T.I. with Khalifa, and I'm at faith all like, wow, nobody's ever asked me these questions. And so we were able, and they were able to share, with how they grew up in faith, what they like to change. So I saw that as an entryway, and I just, from event to event, back up until today, I just created relationships with publicists, and they just kept inviting me to come out.
That's awesome. And family, I know, and I've gotten a couple messages. She's going in and out a little bit, freezing a little bit. So we're sharing that. We're working on that technology. Hang with us, and then we put the captions on the screen. Get volume up a little bit. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing with me a little bit. All right, we're gonna keep going, and I love that, because the fact that and what cracks me up is when you thought you were going to do nursing and you were working at the hospital and you just said, no, this is not for me. Can't go at the hospital thing. I get that. I always get yeah, I get uncomfortable in that area too. But I love that journey of growing in what you did, and that you had an idea, and that you shared it with others, and that helped you keep going. What was the key for you to progress in that area? As you got into media, what were some of the keys that progressed and helped you progress? Some people use mentorship. Some people are like, no, I know this is what I'm called to do. And then some people have different reasons or motives, but you could tell your heart was really in it. And so what was it for you that kept you progressing in that area, before we get to anything else? To let the people know, because there's a lot of people that are in media also, especially the ones that are new to the industry, that watch. And hey, shout out to you, Benjamin. Shout out to Mother Lovelace, Auntie Maggie, all of you. God bless you. Facebook user, whoever you are, God bless all of you for joining in and listening on tonight. But Kim, yeah. So what would you say? Some of those keys for progressing.
I would say I knew to be a light. So regardless of what I needed to do to be there, it's clear enough to, after rededicating my life to Christ, clearly hearing what I knew I belonged there. I didn't know how to get to quote there. I didn't know wrongs and do's and don'ts, but I knew I had a gift to speak, and to speak to eyes to God's way of doing things. And I wanted to be able to do that. Whether I did it right or wrong. The reason why publicists kept inviting me out, because they knew I would look the part, and they know I would do good work. And that's the things that I did do. I would see other major media outlets there. I would pay attention. Some had the little point and shoot camera. This is when digital cameras first was coming out on the scene.
Right.
Some cable television networks, they had a big boombox size cameras for their show. Everybody had what worked for them, but I paid attention to what they did, and to me, I knew exactly what to do. I already had my questions. I knew how to, I just didn't know, the do's and don'ts, the etiquette of the carpet, so to speak. And so the message I knew but I wanted to cover faith, culture, and style in a way that it wasn't new. You know, a lot of people, they may have grown up in church. It may have been ritualistic, or it just was no relationship. I'm like, wow, they just need to see that God is so good. He delivers us, He saves us, He keeps us, He redeems us. But they need to, what does that look like for someone my age, in their 20s, in their 30s? And I'm elation for them to see that not as their mom telling them, not as their dad or their grandmothers, and however they may have grown up in church. I want them to see, no, this is how we went out at the time. I was in my late 20s, early 30s. This is how we live. It's a Sunday thing that we do just to say we went to church, or just to say we went on Christmas or life.
Right.
So I knew I had that message, and I wanted to show that it was relatable. It'll be cool.
Right. I think that's amazing. And I'm glad that you knew. And so, family, if you're listening right now, we're just kind of talking a little bit about how things were with Kim, what led her into where she is now, into the media, going from journalism then to nursing, and then what kept her there, a key that she shared, what kept her there. And again, she knew who she was. I love the fact that you knew that. You knew you could speak. You felt it. You knew you were to be a light in that era. You knew you could bring it. And I think that's so important versus someone saying, you should just be this or that, and it may not be you. And then they end up steering someone somewhere else, but their passion was elsewhere. So I love how that happened with you. What is something that you could say was some of your biggest challenges in those early days?
Pretty much social media, before Facebook, before anything that made it easy to have. And so at the time when I first launched my online magazine, I was in print mode. 50,000 copies, 100,000 copies. I just wanted to see my magazine in Barnes and Noble. Ultimate in my head, print mode. But as the years went by, and not too long, I need to print a thing. Digital is the way. That's when blogs came out on the scene. That's when Space came out. I came on MySpace, and then and Facebook came. Space days. And so Facebook came out, and so I started to build my following, go out and cover an event. I would post it on my site, but I would also post it on my Facebook page, because the thing that people are finding each other that they haven't seen since high school and college.
Right.
Initially, my first big hurdle was figuring out, how do I do this? Because I'm not Essence Magazine. I don't have their budget to print hundreds and thousands of copies of my magazine. I'm like, okay, Lord, I know you told me to do this, but look at this build. In the world can I do that? And so, I did print kind of like a version of it, and I got some amazing reactions from it. They were like, wow, I really need to start to read that article. And then eventually I said, you know what, we're going to take this digital to do everything that I was going to do in print mode, and just take it. So that's how I kind of overcame that.
Right. That's good. I love it. So it came a point in your time where you ran into really what eventually became your book. Let's talk about that transition a little bit. Let's share with the people just what your heart feels when that year 2000, I think it was 10, I'm not sure, remind me, that hit, and a little bit about that, because I want to lead into the book, and the speaking, and some other nuggets related to this. But let's share a little bit about that.
Decided to write the book. First of all, let me back up a little bit. There's a lot of life as I was launching my online magazine. I was married at the time when I first, so I think this will be helpful to someone who wants to go after their dream or purpose. Naysayers in their ears about what they can't do and what So as I would like Google and find articles and just print them out, because I didn't start a magazine. I would just look it up online or somewhere, find a magazine article about it, and printed out. My
Yeah.
was my husband at the time, and I would think I would get his support, but I would get, who's going to care about that? Who's going to want to read that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
instead of receiving a lot of doubt and a lot of devil's advocates conversations,
Yeah.
and that's trying to move on faith and trying to figure it out. So, things were going, things just were, so, even launching the magazine was kind of put to the back burner because the focus was dealing with every day. And so eventually once, and I moved into my own home, me and my two kids. My kids were like 13 and 3 at the time. And I would say, okay, Lord, this is not what I expected when I planned for it to be forever and be this amazing couple in Christ and show others the way. Absolutely none of that happened. It was the total opposite,
Yeah.
So, you know what? And that's how I launched my magazine. And so as I was doing it, I wanted to see me on the red carpet with celebrities. They'll see me with whomever, Tyrese or Lala, all these huge names, and they just get enamored, like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, no, I need what was going on in the background. And I was trying to make this happen. So it's never too late. Whatever that setback is for me, my setback's never too late. Yes, the divorce happened, but that's not the end of your story. That's not God's destination for you. It's never too late to move into that purpose. And that's where we'll find the moment when we're walking in that purpose. And so I knew I had to write a book, and I was just there because I didn't know how to write a book. So I got a book coach, and I would write. And eventually I found out about a speaking engagement at Emory University for a TED Talk. And literally the day before, I was looking through my Google to go by, and just all these crazy things would happen. And I would say, okay, Lord, but if things are going opposite, it must be for a reason, and I'm going to write this down. So I would write a little bit of the book and just put it in my Google Drive. Write something else and put it in my Google Drive. How would I want somebody else to come out of what I just went through? What friend book to be a friend and the companion that I needed when I was hurt, broken, and just humiliated, and quite honestly felt like God played me. I'm like, God, what the heck was that? But side note, God will never play you. He will not. But that was just a mindset I was in for a brief moment. And so I eventually at TEDx, they were like, what would you want your talk to be about? And so I said, you know what? I want to tell them it's never too late. And I only said that because literally the day before I was just planning out things. And I got just lost in that folder of how am I going to, and then I ended up doing the talk. And this was in 2020, literally right before. And so
pandemic.
Right before it happened, around January, maybe. And so I knew by the time that TED released the TED Talk, because it was not finished. I just had bits and pieces of it. So I took 6 months while the pandemic was going to finish the book so that it would be ready by the time TED came a while. It usually takes 3 months, but because of the pandemic, it took them about 6 months to finally release. And so that's how I ended up writing the book, because some of the chapters go in knowing your purpose, and how do it hurt you to your core, and you still want to stay in alignment with God's word. How do you do that? Right? How do you still walk in love? And it's okay to not do it right, mind you, because trust me, I didn't do it right several times because I got tired of crying every day. I got tired of staying at home every day. I said, I'm going to pick up my bed and walk according to what the word says.
Right.
And I'm what he told me to do, because I'm not going to let this setback be my destination, because some sitting on their bed crying, not knowing what to do. So I said, I'm going to write this book. A friend, a girlfriend, a sister, to show them. At the end of the book, I have chapters that I interviewed professionals. So say, for example, during their setback, whether it was loss of a loved one, loss of a job,
Right.
whatever their set themselves go. I interviewed a major stylist. She shows you how to get back and done all the internal work. Once you've done all the spiritual work, it's time to let that
Right.
in. Don't, because something happened. Don't just be like, oh, well, nobody cares, nobody sees me anyway. No, we're attractive. So I interviewed
Right.
everyone from stylists to doctors to help people, to help women specifically, and men, because the information is still relevant back on the other side of their setback.
Wow. Well, one thing that I want to ask is, and I'm hoping we can get, seeing if they can hear. It looks like there's a few audio things, but I want to ask this. We're going to get this in, and if we have to bring it back, we'll bring it back. How did this writing change you? As you went through this, you have these emotions that many of us feel when we become broken, or we go through a trial, or even something unexpected or traumatic. We go through a situation, and I know, when I was writing one of my books, it began to change me, in certain ways. Not bad, but things were happening, of course, healing and so forth. For you, writing It's Never Too Late, could you sense, shedding and changing and empowerment and all those wonderful things as you begin to do that? Because just that phrase alone, it's never too late, speaks volumes. How
Yeah,
was that for you
yeah.
writing that?
Not easy, because writing a book, one, is absolutely not easy. So it's called
Right.
How to Make It, basically about how to make the ultimate comeback, right? So I wanted to make sure I was telling people to make their comeback. And so for me, it was so hard, because I had to go when I was married, when I was going through the divorce, when I didn't know. It was fun. The fun parts was remembering how I started my career in media, and my first red carpet that I did. I was so proud. I did it. I went from not this on, how in the world did I get here, to actually being on the carpet, and I still have those pictures, and I have the book to show them visually. This is that moment when this happened, right?
Right.
It
Right.
was hard. It was hard to relive the betrayal and the hurt.
Yeah.
Put so
I
much
bet.
work. I had put years. Mind you, this was well over 10. This was separated. But even then, it took me years before I can even talk about tears. It took me years before I can even talk about it. So to have to write about it was pretty
Right.
difficult to go back to that place. But what kept
Yeah.
me going
Yeah.
is someone needs this. This could be life or death for someone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
That's right.
I write this down, and so that people can read it step through, and for them to read it and apply whatever God tells them, because this is my story. This is how,
Right.
and my prayer is for someone to read it and do whatever God tells them to do. Some
Right.
parts He
Right.
say don't, because the key to miracles is to do whatever God tells you to do. We can't just
Right.
copy and paste people's testimony, because that is specifically designed for them. But there are many,
Right.
many scripture. It's straight word. The word doesn't change for anyone. So
That's right.
I put all there that I stood on, that I spoke, and so it was hard just to look, and then it was difficult because of the emotional part of
Oh
writing the
yeah.
book. But I
Yeah.
was able. There's a part in the book that I absolutely love. I still say this life is when I went to go cover the grand opening of Tyler Perry Studios. All of Hollywood was there, and it was just so reminder. I was the only one. I did the red carpet. I went there on behalf of the Hollywood Reporter. Out, I was pretty much one of the only media that was allowed to go inside. The Times press just does the carpet, and then they have to leave, and then that's it. And so when I got there, I'm looking at Bishop T.D. Jakes. I'm looking at Creflo Dollar. I'm looking at Tyrese. I'm looking at
Wow.
I'm looking at all these people in one, all black excellence. God, how do I, a little bit of what do they call it? Try to creep in, but I said, oh no, this is God's doing. I'm like, how am I in? Hey, how? And so I went to my table. They had a nice calligraphy, draw my name on it, Kim Ford, and that just showed me that God will really prepare a seat at the table for you.
That's right.
That's exactly what He did. No matter, I went through setbacks, all the doubts. Why is it taking so long? And I'm not, it's not moving fast enough for me. That will have those moments. But that moment is a reminder that God will prepare for you, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I talk about that moment in the book. I have all in the book so that people can really visually see what I'm saying and what I'm. There's a part in the book where I talk about Tyler Perry had that exact same experience when things were not really easy for him, and he was at a similar event that Oprah had. Same words. He said, "How am I here?" He didn't realize he said, this is part of the speech that he gave, ironically, at the event. He was saying it to himself, like, "Oh my God, how am I here?" But Yolanda Adams was standing directly. He said, "Because you belong here. That's why you're here."
I love it. Yeah.
I turned around and looked at her like, oh. And so I had the similar experience, and somebody else told me that you belong here. And so for the person that's listening, that's watching, but when God has called you to do something, He will send us those reminders. You are called. Yes, my son, you are called. I will make a way. Yes, it's easy. Everyone would be doing it. But if it is truly your purpose to do, God will make the way. Our job is just to not lose faith. I'm saying that's all we got to do. That's not easy, but we got to keep feeding our faith so that's one of the main things that I absolutely do. I like to take people on a journey with me. I love storytelling. That's why I cover film, and it heals, it inspires, it encourages people. And so that was my goal. The main thing in the book is to be as visual as possible and be as transparent as, and not just give a few scriptures and just say, no, I'll go do it, because it's not all now. I'm going through some real stuff. You're going to need to tell me a little bit more. You really wanted it to be like a tool that people, if you want to keep it in your purse, keep days that I was in so much pain and hurt. I literally had to keep the word on me. I had to keep daily saying scriptures to keep my mind at peace, because hurt by what had happened. So I hope when people read it, there is their need, their breakthrough, whatever their setback is, and that they're able to apply. I'm just getting started. There's so many even more things that I plan on, and I'm figuring out and reinventing and pivoting, and because hey, time changing with the times, you have to keep evolving. Right. You can't continue doing your brand as if it's 2010, because it's not. Right. As if it's 2000. Those methods are just not going to work. So I say that as I'm right now.
Right. I love it. So, family, we're just hearing a little bit about her story in the book and the things that she went through and the people that she spoke to and the testimony, with Tyler Perry, Yolanda Adams, etc. And I'm kind of adding that for those that are having some audio issues. But we're going to try to bring Kim back on because everything she's saying, I probably can hear more than you all, is a great journey of how all of this led to this book. It's never too late, and I'm going to definitely post the picture of the book on the show, and you can get it at Amazon and pick it up and read through. And I want to say, Kim, it's a tangible journey. Am I correct? Where they can really take and receive from it and grow from it for themselves. Am I correct with that? Saying that?
Journey, I kind of parallel my journey in media with steps they can take themselves, whether it's relationships. And I
Right.
interview people. I interview Warren Campbell. It's for them to say, hey, how do you support a really ambitious woman? Because they have a problem supporting really, really ambitious women. Erica, she's a recorder, she's a wife,
Right.
she's on the radio.
Yeah.
Some guys would be like, okay, you do X, Y, Z instead. So my questions to him was, okay, speak to the men who really ambitious women, and God has have called them to do many things outside the home. And I really wanted to have those type of questions. So all those type interviews are there so that people can hear from people they know stories. They can read from experts regarding their health. Sometimes I did interview like a holistic physician because sometimes it's their health. They've received a report from the doctor that says whatever you have, when sometimes all you have to do is eat the right thing, and that will reverse it. So information that they need sometimes keep taking the medicine, but I also to kind of gauge, why don't you try this, because it's not too late and you haven't tried. It's like a self-help book. It parallels my journey in media, my story specifically, so that people can see themselves and apply.
Awesome. So, Kim, we want to bring you back because it looks like they're saying your audio's in and out and it's freezing back and forth.
Oh
Um,
gosh,
and I want them to
am I
get
freezing
more
with you?
full. It's on this end too. I see it. So I want to.
Oh
It's
gosh.
probably, yeah. But we want to capture all of what you're saying. So I want you to come back and I want you to repeat everything. I'm going to say every piece of note, everything, because I want to make
Oh
sure
no.
this gets out. We're going to be pushing the book, but I do want you to come out, and there's a panel coming. So I may see if you can have that date free. You can come out and be able to share this and speak to everyone so that they get a clear interview from you, because we are just waiting to hear from you. It's in you. You know the journey. You know the
Yay.
details. You know the ups and the downs. And so we've heard some great, amazing things so far from those of you who were able to get something out of it. Thank you for those who are messaging back to me. And so we want to bring you back if that's okay. We'll send you some dates and you choose from. Will that be
Okay.
okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So, family, listen. I know some of you, because I got message. You still got some nuggets from this show. Glory be to God. I want, in the meantime, for you all to purchase her book. I will post it tonight after the show. We're going to bring Kim back, but I want you to at least get an idea of it. So when she comes back, you can even connect even more to this awesome work that she has done. She's spoken about it. She's just doing it all. You can find her on Instagram, everywhere, but let me see if I can get you to tell them, Kim, where they can find you in the meantime so that we can get people to start connecting with you from our end before we bring you back.
Yes.
How can we find you?
Mostly I'm on all platforms, but I'm mostly on Instagram at I am Kim Ford.
Perfect.
That's IAMKIMFORD. I am Kim Ford.
All right, family. So you got that. So those of you that are hearing and watching, thank y'all for hanging out with us. Listen,
Yay.
Kim, to
I
media,
apologize for the
technology,
audio.
that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I don't know what
Next time,
else to do.
It's okay. Next time we're going to make it work. We got something, but we know you're busy and challenging. And we're just excited to know your journey, what you have done. We've shared a lot before we even started this interview about who you are. So we just know, God, you are in the right place. You're doing the right thing. People are being impacted by you. We celebrate you regardless. I know there's still more to come. I even seen some things that your daughter, isn't she the captain of the dance team?
When she was
At how
in college, she
when she was in
graduated.
college?
She went to Grambling. Yeah, she went to
Grambling
Grambling
too.
also. Graduated,
Dancer.
and now she's doing auditions. She's a professional dancer.
Fantastic. So we have that in common. I love it. So anyway, y'all, we have so much more to talk about, family that's listening and watching. I have a slew of questions for her. I'm going to save her to bring her back when we bring the women's panel back on. And so thank you, Kim, for being on today. I will be in touch. Family, we will also be back next week with another amazing guest that'll come and speak to you. And in the meantime, you all can email me, or if you have a guest, at SheridaLovelace@gmail.com or Sherida Lovelace Ministries. And as always, everyone, we wish you sweet dreams. And remember that in your heart is the place where victory repeats itself. Get Kim's book. We're going to post it after the show. No excuses. Kim, we will be bringing you back. And thanks again for your time that you had with us on the Triumphant Show.
So much for having me.
All right, family. We will be back next week with another, like I said, amazing guest. And we're gonna make sure that we work with Kim so we can bring her back, and she'll be in a place where we won't have the audio and technical difficulties. Yes, Miss Alma. Hey, I did too. And so there's so much more. And so we'll be back soon for that. All right, everyone. I'm gonna let you go tonight. I will be back with you again. I'm going to be posting once we get off. And if you have any questions for me or the guests, make sure you send them to me at SheridaLovelace@gmail.com or Sherida Lovelace Ministries. And we will see you back next week, same time, same place, with a co-host and another guest. God bless you all. Thank you for supporting the Triumphant Show with Sherida Lovelace. I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.